kind of accent do you speak English with? What kind of accent do you speak English with? I speak English
I speak English
with a
with a
Chinese.
Chinese accent.
Very good. Where's the accent in the word mathematics? Where's the accent in the word mathematics? The accent in the
The
word
accent in the word
mathematics is
mathematics
in the
is
third
the
syllable.
third is on
Third.
the third syllable.
Very good. Okay, so that's the end of revision. Let's start
Yes.
new word. Okay, so
Okay.
repeat to depend on.
Depend on.
Very good. Okay, listen. So children depend on their parents for money. Okay, so let's practice. Do children depend on their parents for money? Do children depend on their parents for money? Yes, children depend
Yes. Children depend
on their
on their
parents
parents
for money.
on the money.
For money.
For money. For
Very good.
money.
Okay, next. Some people eat in expensive restaurants, others eat in cheap restaurants. What does this depend on? Some people eat in expensive restaurants, others eat in cheap restaurants. What does this depend on? It depends
It it depends
on how
on
much money they
how
have.
much money they have.
Very good. During the day it's light, whilst during the night it's dark. What does this depend on? During the day it's light, whilst during the night it's dark. What does this depend on? It depends
It depends
on the sun
it depends on the sun
and where it is in the sky.
and and where it is in the sky.
Ve-
In the sky.
Very good. Again, next repeat. Remember,
Remember.
forget.
Forget.
Very good. Okay, listen. For example, I remember the name of this thing. It's a pen. I remember his name. His name is Mr. Brown. The word forget is the opposite of remember. For example, I don't always remember everything I learn. Some things I remember and some things I forget. Okay, let's practice. Do you always remember everything you learn? Do you always remember everything you learn? Yes or no?
No, I don't remember
Always
everything
remember.
I learn.
Some things I remember
Something I
and
remembered and
some things
something I
I
forgot.
forget.
Forget.
Very good. Do you remember when to use capital letters in English? Do you remember when to use capital letters in English? Yes or no?
Um, Capital letters.
Do you know?
Oh,
Yes or no? Do you
mm,
remember?
yes,
I
yes, I
remember
remember.
when to
Want
use
to use
capital letters
capital
in
letters.
English.
English.
Very good. Tell me, please. We use
We
capital letters
use capital
at
letters
the
at the
beginning of a
beginning of
sentence
the sentence
for the pronoun I
for the pronouns I
and for the
and
first letter
for the first letters
of
of persons' names,
people's
keep
names,
of people's names,
place
place
names,
names,
days of the week,
days of the week,
months of the year,
months of the year,
nationalities, and
nationalities and
languages. Very
languages.
languages. Do you remember the name of this thing? Do you remember the name of this thing? Yes, I
Yes,
remember the
I
name of
remember
that
the
thing.
name of
That
the
thing.
thing.
It's a pen.
It's a pen.
Very good. Okay. Do you ever forget to answer emails? Do you ever forget to answer emails? Yes,
No, I
I know.
don't.
I know. I never forget.
I never.
No,
Never.
no.
I sometimes.
Yes, I
Yes, yes.
sometimes
I
forget
sometimes forget
to
to
answer emails.
answer email.
Very good. Do you ever
Wait.
forget the names
Wait.
or faces of people you know? Do you ever forget the names or faces of people you know? Yes, I
Yes,
sometimes
I
forget
sometimes forget
the names
uh
or
the
faces, the
the
names or
name
faces
or faces
of people I know.
of people I know.
Very good. Okay, let's repeat nearly.
Nearly.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word nearly has the same meaning as more or less. For example, it's more or less time to go home. It's nearly time to go home. Let's practice. Are we nearly at the end of the lesson? Are we nearly at the end of the lesson? Yes or no?
No,
We aren't nearly
we aren't nearly
at the
at the
end
end
of
of the
the lesson.
lesson.
Very good. Are we nearly in, let's say, are we nearly in autumn? Are we nearly in autumn? No, we aren't nearly.
No, aren't.
We aren't nearly
We aren't nearly
in autumn.
in autumn.
Very good. Is it nearly time to have dinner? Is it nearly time to have dinner? Yes or no?
No, it
It
isn't
isn't.
nearly to have dinner.
It isn't nearly time
It isn't nearly time
to have
to
dinner.
have dinner.
Very good. Are you nearly always the last person to get up in your family? Are you nearly always the last person to get up in your family? Yes or no? To get
No.
out of bed, okay? I'm not nearly always
I'm not nearly
the
always.
last
I'm not
person
the last person
to get up
to
in my
get up in my
family.
family.
My husband, right? My husband
My
is
husband is
nearly
nearly
always
always
the
the
last
last
person
person
to get
to
up
get
in my
up in my
family.
family.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Wasn't,
Wasn't,
weren't.
weren't.
Very good. Okay, listen. The negative of I was is I was not or I wasn't. Whilst the negative of you were is you were not or the contraction is you weren't. Okay, let's practice. What's the negative of I was? What's the negative of I was? The
The
negative
negative
of
I
I
was
was
is
is I
I
wasn't.
wasn't.
What's the negative of you were? What's the negative of you were? The
The
negative of
negative
you
of
were
your word
is
is
you
you
weren't.
weren't.
Ve-
You weren't.
You weren't. Very good. Next, was he in the classroom last lesson? Was he in the classroom last lesson? Yes,
Yes.
he was in the classroom.
He yes. He
He
was
was in the classroom
in
last
the
lesson.
classroom last listen.
Very good. Okay, next. Was I here? Was I at this school 50 years ago? Was I at this school 50 years ago? No, you weren't
No, you weren't
in this school
school
50 years ago.
50 years ago.
Very good. Were you here a
Oh,
hundred years ago? Were you here 100 years ago? No, I wasn't
no,
here
I wasn't here
a
a
hundred.
hundred years ago.
Very good. Was she in a different classroom last lesson? Was she in a different classroom last lesson? No,
No,
he wasn't
she wasn't
in a
in the
different
different classes
classroom last
um
lesson.
last room
What? One
last
more?
lesson.
No, she wasn't
No, she
in a
wasn't
different classroom
in the different classroom
last lesson.
last lesson.
Very good. Were we in this world 90 years ago? Were we in this world 90 years ago? No, we weren't
No, we weren't
in this world
in this world
90 years
90
ago.
years ago.
Very good. Were they outside the corridor during the last lesson? Were they outside in the corridor during the last lesson? No,
No,
they
we
weren't
weren't. They
outside
weren't outside
in
in
the
the classroom.
corridor. In the corridor,
Uh, in the corridor
last
during the
lesson.
lesson.
Last lesson.
Last lesson.
Very good. Very good. Next, repeat over.
Over.
Contact.
Context.
Object.
Object.
Very good. Okay, listen. So, oh, let me open this. Okay, here we go. So, we say over or we use the word over when there is no contact between the two objects. For example, my right hand is over the table because there's no contact. Okay? When there is contact between the two objects, we say over when the object covers the other completely and on when it does not cover it completely. For example, now my right hand now my right hand is over the pen because there's no contact, but my left hand is over the pen because I'm covering the pen. Okay, let's practice. Where's my left hand? Where's my left hand? Your left hand's
Your left hand
over the table.
over the table.
Very good. Where's my right hand? Where's my right hand? Your right
Right.
hand's
Your right
over
hand
the
is
pen.
over the pen.
Very good. Where's my left hand now? Where's my left hand now? Your left hand
Your left hand is over the
on
table.
the table.
On the
Yeah,
table.
because I'm not covering the table. Where's my right hand now? Where's my right hand now? Your right hand's
your your
right
your right
hand's
hand
over the pen now.
over the pen now.
Very good. So why do we say my left hand is on the table but my right hand is over the pen? Why do we say my left hand is on the table but my right hand is over the pen? We say your
We
left
see
hand, your left
your
hand
left hand,
is
your
on the
left hand
table,
is on the
but
table,
your right hand
but your right hand
is over the pen
is over the
because
pen
your left hand
because your left hand
is not covering the
is not
table
covering the
completely,
table completely,
whereas your right hand
whereas your right
is
hand
covering the pen completely.
is covering the pen completely.
Very
Oh,
good.
it's
What's
difficult.
over our heads? What's over our heads? The ceilings
The ceilings
over our heads.
over our head,
What's over your building? What's over your building? The skies
the sky,
over my building.
the skies
Over
over
my building.
over my building.
Very good. Okay, next. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're putting your hand
You're putting your hand
on your head.
on your head.
Very good. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're putting your left hand
You're putting your left
over
hand
your eyes.
covering
Over your
over
eyes.
your eyes,
Very
over
good.
your
I'm
head.
covering my eyes. Okay, next. Where's my right hand? Where's my right hand? Your right hand
Your right hand
over your mouth.
covering over your mouth.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Idea.
Idea.
Very good. Okay, listen. The meaning of the word idea is, for example, I think it's a good idea to study a lot if you want to learn a language well. I don't think it's a bad idea to go to France if I want to learn French well. I think it's a good idea. Okay, let's practice. Do you
Yes.
think it's a bad idea to go to England if you want to learn English well? Do you think it's a bad idea to go to England if you want to learn English well? No,
No, I
I
don't
don't.
think it's a bad idea
To go to
to
England
go to England
if I want to learn
if you want to learn
English
English
well. I
well.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
Very good. Do you think it's a good idea to learn some English before going to England? Do you think it's a good idea to learn some English before going to England? Yes, I think
Yes, I think
it's
it's
a
a
good
good
idea
idea
to learn some
to learn
English
some English
before going to
mm,
England.
before going to England.
Very good. Okay, so that's the end of new work. Let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Okay, so our reading is at stage 3, lesson 34, page 206. Okay, start with
34.
beside,
Beside.
besides.
Okay. Besides, go for a walk. Animal. What's the difference between beside and besides? The difference between beside and besides is that beside means next to, whereas besides means apart from. Give me an example of each, please. I'm sitting beside you. Uh, Mr.
Mr.
Brown speaks
French.
Mr. Brown speaks French besides English.
Mhm.
Who's sitting beside me? Nobody sitting beside you. Is Paris beside the sea? No,
Paris.
Paris, Paris isn't beside the sea. It's inland.
England.
Inland. What's he doing? He's putting both his hands on the table, one side
One
the
beside
other, one beside the
the
other.
other.
The other, oh, one beside the other, one beside.
Like one beside the other.
Like
Like
one.
that. Side by side. One
Ah,
beside
yes,
the
side
other.
by one
Mhm.
piece, side by side. Yes, I see. Next to. Okay. No. What do you do in the evening besides besides
With
besides
S. Besides
Besides watching television,
Hmm.
I go for a walk, I read, I go to the cinema, etc., etc. In the
In the
in the
evening,
evening, in the evening, besides sorry, in the
besides,
evening, besides watching television,
very good.
how many floors? Uh, how many floors are there in this building beside this one? There are 4 floors in this building beside this one. Have you got another watch besides that one? No, I haven't got another watch beside this one. Have your parents got any more children besides you? Yes, my parents have got another child
Besides,
besides me. Besides me,
mhm,
very much. Do you like walking very much? Yes, I like walking very much. Do you like walking very much? No, I don't like walking very much. Church, temple, mosque,
mosque,
mos, mosque, mosque,
mosque,
mosque,
very good. Synagogue,
mosque. Synagogue,
very good.
synagogue. Do most people in this country go to church each week? Yes, no. Most people in this country don't go to church. Enter. At what time do you generally enter the classroom for your lesson? I generally enter the classroom at 6:30 for my lesson.
Hmm.
Air. Can you see the air? Uh,
Can we see?
can you see the air? The
No,
air?
that's correct. The
The
air,
air?
the,
The air?
the air.
The air. Can you see the air? No, we can't see the air. Once, twice, 3 times. How many times a week? How many times a week do you come here? I come here 3 times a week.
Mhm.
How many times a month do you go to the cinema? I go to the cinema about once 2 months.
Once every 2 months.
Once every 2 months.
Hmm.
How many times a day do you eat?
I eat,
I eat 3 times a day.
very good.
How many times do you leave? I only leave once. Cover. What am I doing? You're carving your watch with your right hand. Can you cover both your hands with only one hand? Yes, I can cover both my ears with
Eyes,
only my
both
no,
my
both
eyes,
my eyes with only one hand.
very good.
What covers our hands? Our hair. Our hair covers our hands.
Our heads.
Our hats.
Hmm.
Our hats. Snow. What color is snow? Snow's white. Does it generate snow very much in the hot countries of the world? No, it doesn't generate it. It doesn't.
Generally,
It doesn't generate snow very much in the hot countries of the world.
very good.
It generally snows very little,
Very little.
very little. Weather. What kind of weather do you prefer? Do you prefer
Do you prefer?
hot? Prefer.
Hmm.
What kind of weather do you prefer? Hot, warm, cool, or cold? I
Cold,
prefer cold. I prefer I pref I prefer cool weather.
very good.
What kind of weather are we having at the moment? We are having what
Summer,
kind of
hot
weather?
weather.
Hot weather at the moment.
Hmm.
Is British weather present in winter? No, British weather isn't present in winter. It's unpresent. Start, finish. On what date does the summer
In your country,
in your country? Summer starts on
on
sorry
the, let's say, 21st
on
of June.
on on the 21st of June in my country.
Hmm.
What time do most people finish work in this town? Most people finish work at about 7 in this town.
Very good.
Hold. Conversation. Simple. Complication.
Complicated.
What am I? Complicated.
Uh-huh.
Complicated. Mm. What am I holding in my left hand? You're holding a pen in your left hand. Which hand do you hold your pen in? Your pen, your pen
Your
in
pen
when you
in when you write.
your your pen in when you write. I hold my pen. I hold my pen in my right hand when I write. Can you hold a complicated conversation English? No, I can't hold a complicated. No, I can't hold a complicated conversation English. I can hold a simple conversation English.
Hmm.
About how many matches does a matchbox generally hold?
Very good.
A matchbox generally holds about 30
Matches.
matches.
Very good.
About how long can you hold your hand about your head your head
Your
full?
head for
Your head full. I can hold my hand about my head for 1 minute.
about 1 minute.
For about 1 minute. Other than, do you speak any English teachers other than me? Yes, I know some English teacher other than you.
Hmm.
Tell me the name of tell me the name of an tell me the name of
An
an
English
English
city
city
other than
other than London. The name of an English city other than London is Ireland.
Mhm.
Quick, slow. What's the opposite of the word quick? The opposite of the word quick is slow. Is a bus quicker than a train? No, a bus isn't quicker than a train. It's slower than a train.
Okay. So
I'm
that's the
finished.
end of reading. Let's move on to revision.
Revision.
Okay. Very good. So
Okay.
let's start revision. Okay. So do children depend on their parents for money? Do children depend on their parents for money? Yes.
Yes,
Children
children
depend on
depend
their
on
parents.
their parents for money.
Very good. Okay. Some people eat in expensive restaurants, other eat in cheap restaurants. What does this depend on? Some people eat in expensive restaurants, others eat in cheap restaurants. What does this depend on? It
It
depends
depends on
on
how much
money
they
they
have,
have.
how much money they have.
Very good. During the day it's light, whilst during the night it's dark. What does this depend on? During the day it's light, whilst during the night it's dark. What does this depend on? It
It
depends
depends on
on
the
the
sun
sun
and
and where it
where it
is
is
in the.
in the sky.
Very good. And we
Thank
stop
you.
there for today, but very good.